Local and national news organizations, though consistently reporting on the same occurrences, often differ in their journalistic coverage of things, especially war. There are tons of examples of this that illustrate the differences between local and national U.S. journalistic coverage of events in wartime. For this video, however, I want to focus on how different local and national outlets have covered more recent conflicts. Larger national U.S. media organizations like CNN, NBC, and Fox News all have foreign correspondents that will deploy with U.S. troops abroad, and they have the funds to consistently have boots on the ground in the field reporting. Smaller, more local publications, like a Denver Post, for example, often face practical and financial obstacles when it comes to sending people abroad.
But the first obstacle is, local news outlets, whether they find this war reporting, conflict reporting as, some cash cow. Because local news outlets are more interested in making solid profit out of their relatively smaller operation compared to national or international news organizations. They don't even have any international news coverage on a regular basis, except they rely mostly on AP or Reuters newsfeed.
This is University of Colorado professor and formerly embedded journalist Hunshik Kim. He's seen firsthand the differences between national and local outlets and how they cover stories in combat zones.
The problem is news directors and news editors are not really into supporting that kind of a long-distance news assignments.
Though they may face more obstacles, smaller outlets and their reporters will have comparatively more freedom to communicate information than larger institutions. I also spoke with veteran and Masters of Journalism recipient Lieutenant Colonel Mitch Utterback to get his view on the subject.
A network journalist, Oliver North is a friend of mine, and he traveled on Fox News' dime to northern Iraq in November of 2016 and had to have a $20,000 security detail because the network dictated that you will have the Falcon Group do your security package.
Mitch wrote his master's thesis in Gaza and witnessed firsthand some of the biases exhibited by reporters who conformed to their outlet's set agenda.
For whatever reason, we invaded in 2003, but by 2008, things were going well. Iraq was grateful for our help. Things were going good. Lots of good news stories to be told. American deaths way down, Iraq in the lead in everything. Those stories weren't getting told because that would have borne favorably on behalf of the Republican candidate, whoever it was. So at least NPR dug for stories. And I imagine in my own bias, a news editor or somebody at NPR saying, let's find what bad stories we have. We don't want to see any positive ones right now. Well, I've got it in an editorial meeting. Well, we've got that one about antidepressants from February. Okay, like 6 months ago. Okay, let's play that because that one's bad. Can we have anything else? Divorce is up. Like, wow, you're really digging.
I wanted to get some perspective on what exactly reporting for a local outlet in a combat zone would be like. So I spoke to associate professor and formerly embedded reporter for the Oregonian, Angie Chuang.
So as a local journalist, my job was not to cover the entire war in Afghanistan or the U.S. role. Mine was to find a way for Oregonians to relate to somebody who was from their state or had an impact on their state and how that related to the war in Afghanistan. And so my main source was an Afghan immigrant family from Oregon, where the patriarch of the family was a professor at Lewis and Clark College in Portland, Oregon, and he had gone back to be part of the Karzai government. So I followed him around at work and talked about his role in the government.
Through my investigation of this subject, I've come to the realization that though local U.S. media outlets may be somewhat bound by their finances and need to find local ties to international issues, they still have comparatively more freedom to report on happenings in wartime than larger media institutions, which have the tendency to exhibit more bias in their attempt to report on stories that fit their predetermined agenda. In a media landscape of general distrust, I can see local journalism having an increasingly prevalent role in reporting international conflicts moving forward.